Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one! Another one!
Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Worked out by Burke. Bounces into Cody. Puts it up. Scores!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It is Monday. Man, I had to stop and think. It just seems like these days running together nonstop. Charlie Miller on with us. Charlie, it just seems like I'm the hamster on the wheel, man. Can't get off that wheel. Sunday night, had a Sunday night basketball game last night at Simon Scott Assembly Hall as the Indiana Hoosiers destroyed Louisiana. Football game the day before that, and the day before that was Friday. So it's feel like the hamster on the wheel. But welcome in, big show, of course. Don Fischer joining us, Charlie Miller as well, Jim Reamer. Plenty to talk about. College basketball, a lot of games going on, some upsets. Big win in for the Colts yesterday. Jonathan Taylor has a gigantic day. Big day for him. What do you end up with? 5 touchdowns? He's MVP talk, baby. We'll talk with Matt Taylor Thursday about that. Looking forward to it. But Jonathan Taylor is just looking phenomenal. And the Colts, how about the Colts? That's a gigantic win over the Titans for them. So they now move to 6-5 on the season after an 0-3 start. They're trying to get to the playoffs. Charlie Miller, how are you today, brother? He's having a little trouble getting in here, so see the frustration on him, but that's okay. He's trying it again. Let's see. We'll hear from Mike Woodson today. We'll hear from Christian Lander today. Let's see. Purdue rallies in the second half for a big win over Villanova. We'll talk about that. Ohio State jumps to number 2 in the AP college football poll. Florida fires Dan Mullen. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Don Fischer joins us as well. So lots to talk about, lots to get to. Michigan loses to Arizona last night, if I didn't mention that. Charlie, are you there? He's still looking quizzical, so we'll wait for Charlie to get in. But welcome, everybody else. I hope you are having a great day and are a great start to your week. Man, again, this is going to be hard remembering what day this is. It's when, like I said, those days don't stop. It seriously becomes a weird deal. But NFL happening yesterday, like I said, the Colts, a gigantic win as they travel to Buffalo to beat the Bills in a win that kind of puts them back. It gives them a lot of confidence and everything else. But let's see. We'll go through all the scores from yesterday. The Dolphins beat the Jets. No shocker there. Eagles, they're over the Saints, 40-29. The Bengals beat the Raiders. How about the Chiefs and the Cowboys? You know what the over-under for that game was? It was like 59 points, and the score of that game was 19-9. Steelers and the Chargers, now that's a different story there. They scored 78 points in their games as the Chargers knock off the Steelers 41-37. Cardinals beat the Seahawks. Where are the rest of my games? What was the date of yesterday? 21st. Got to make sure I'm on the right date so I don't have the wrong games here. There you go. Colts final 41-15. 41-15. Carson Wentz was only 11 of 20 for 106 yards, but that was because they were running all over him. Jonathan Taylor, 32 carries, 185 yards, 5.8 yard average, just running all over them and just destroyed the Bills. 41-15. So that puts the Colts, keeps them in wild card contention, and puts them in a lot better shape. Pull up the standings. They're in second place in the AFC South. Right now, 2 games behind the Titans. Of course, that loss to the Titans earlier this year where they could have beaten them, they'd be tied. They would be tied right now. How crazy is that? After an 0-3 start, they would be tied for the lead. Well, actually, if they hadn't lost that game to the Ravens either. So they could have just won one of those 2 games. But they've won 3 straight. So they've got that going for them. College basketball, at it last night, and a lot of it. But most people care about the IU game. Indiana taking on Louisiana. We'll talk about that. But plenty others to talk about. I mentioned Purdue. They played 2 big games here late, but they were down by as many as 11 points in the second half. They rallied to knock off number 5 Villanova, 80-74 at the Hall of Fame tip-off on Sunday. The Boilermakers are undefeated at 5-0. Zach Edey, Purdue's 7-4 center, he's gotten a lot stronger. He had 21 points and 6 rebounds. Every Boilermaker starter finished in double-digit scoring. So Matt Painter's got a pretty good team there. It's going to be scary. I'm not going to lie to you. How do you stop a 7'4" Zach Edey who's playing with purpose? That's going to be he looked very sheepish prior to the season. Don't forget about Jaden Ivey. They've got Jaden Ivey as well. Purdue's going to be a tough out. I mean, you might as well get to it. Hey, Charlie, how are you, brother?
Hey, good. I'm sorry about the difficulties this morning, man. How you doing?
We're just talking about Purdue, man. They're going to be tough out. A big win for them yesterday as they come from behind, rally to knock off number 5 Villanova. It's their, I think, second big win. But Zach Edey, man, 7'4", he's kind of grown into himself now. He looks stronger. He looks confident. You got Jaden Ivey. They've got a whole host of things, but you've got players that are playing confident that weren't confident before, and that's the same for Indiana. We'll get to that later, but Purdue their guys are further along. They're deeper. Man, they're going to be tough. They are tough.
You don't have a lot of change, right? I mean, think about the changes we've gone through. I think what you're seeing from us, as we'll talk about at the due time, we're playing quicker, faster. We look more confident, but they have more continuity, right? They know each other. They have an identity. That's a little different. And you're coming and you have a centerpiece at 7'4". That's a little different. You know, you can shoot and miss some shots, kind of knowing some rebounds will come off in favor your way. So I definitely hear what you're saying.
And 7'4", I don't know if people understand. I mean, yeah, he's not going to have a big vertical, but man, 7'4" makes a big difference. It's just the reach, everything else, whatever it may be. And Purdue always seems to end up with those guys.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean, and I was talking about that this weekend. My camera is acting up. Sorry about that, but I was talking about that this weekend and with some players like, I mean, the taller you are, the higher percentage you're going to shoot, and this game just favors you. And when you have players like that, you can't really game plan for that. I mean, because you have to be so alert every possession for tip in, putbacks, defensively, how he can offensively continue to have plays be stretched out. You have to account for that. That's tough.
Yeah, and we saw Michigan. Michigan goes down to Arizona last night. So there's the teams that are considered the two top teams of the Big Ten, and Michigan has lost twice now already, I think, in this young season. So they're working on getting through some things, which is not unusual.
Right. Yeah, and you got to take it too. It's early, and again, sorry about my mic, Jim. I mean my
sounds fine.
Yeah, but it's early. It's early, and I want to put too much stock into the wins and losses right now, especially when it comes to us. I want to be very cautious. We're doing some good things right now, but I wouldn't put too much stock into what's going on.
Let's see. I'm trying to find a backstory on the Michigan game there as they lose to Arizona. It was where was that final score? I just saw it a second ago. 88. They got killed. 80-62. I mean, they got killed. Arizona dominated Michigan. There's a difference between losing and getting just dominated, and they did. And Arizona is not thought to be that good. They're going through a lot of change. So man, but if you're going to get dominated, you want it to be early in the season, right?
You want it to be early in the season to get good footage and film, so you know what you need to work on. Your rotations, as far as players, who knows if they were injury prone. I think this may be happening, Jim, may be wrong, but I noticed a lot of players that have transferred are not able to play right away. So who knows what's going on? You just never know. I just know there's a player in that I know due to paperwork, NCAA, clearing. I think that's going on more than like usual because some players are transferring more than, once or twice. So you never know if you have the whole personnel. So, again, I won't put too much stock into it, but I think it gives them something to work on, to get ready for that Big Ten season.
Man, and Villanova only made 4 of 21 3-point shots in winning that game by 18.
I wonder if what was the rebound edge?
Great question. I don't have that statistic. They don't have that. Where's the box score for this? I'll find the box score and tell you exactly that. Rebounds, Michigan, 29, 34 for Arizona, and 10 offensive rebounds
That's
to
big.
go along with that.
That's big.
So they shot 50% overall from the field, 19%. They still shot. Oh, they ended up shooting 19% from the three, but I'll tell you, Michigan helped them by shooting 7%. They were 1 of 14.
Yeah.
So people that are, we've got to get out of here to make sure a quick break. Don Fischer joins us next, but we'll carry this conversation forward. People worried about Indiana. They're shooting better than this. So there are other teams that are struggling. But we'll talk about all that and more as you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Don Fischer with us next. Brought to you by the great folks at Southern Stone Restaurant. Tonight, you can catch the Mike Woodson Show, 7:05. Fish will be there to take care of that. We're back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration.
Hey, I'm going to restart my computer. I'm sorry about this.
Hey, you're good,
fine,
Charlie.
brother.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, because this is unusual. All right.
This is unacceptable.
Yeah, we're used to technical difficulties. No worries there. Morning, Don.
Morning.
Hey, Don, how are you?
Good, guys. How are you guys?
Oh,
You'll actually see that we're live right now, but we're in a commercial break. Just wanted to give you a heads up.
Oh, okay.
We start earlier now
Why?
because my other job affects when I have to leave from doing this. So
Oh, I got you.
had to make Jim move us up 30 minutes.
golly. And that 30 minutes is tough, especially after a week like this. I was like, what day is this?
I know.
And then you're back tonight. You should have just stayed in the hotel room over here.
Well, I could basically come down there till Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, shoot. That's right.
I got shows Monday and Wednesday.
Monday and Wednesday.
And then the game tomorrow night.
Yep.
I've had basically five full work days plus prep day, 2 days of prep time. So every week has been full since the month of November began.
It's the same for here, man. I'm like, I cannot wait to get out of this. It's killing me.
Well, it's like that every year these days because of the overlap.
Yep.
They changed the schedule. Basketball used to start right after football was done. And it hadn't been that way in a long time. And I still hate the fact that they've changed the bucket game, and we now play after Thanksgiving, which is just stupid because the students are gone.
Students are gone.
It just doesn't make any sense. But common sense is not common.
That's out the door, too.
It is. You don't make Charlie get up and work this early?
Well, he's
on.
having some
He's having
technical
trouble
issues
with
right
his.
now.
No.
He came on and he dropped out about 3 different times. He'll be back on here shortly. We'll see. But here we go. 20 seconds.
The Indiana Hoosiers, as well as coverage of the Big Ten. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also catch Indiana Sports Beat Radio there each day at your convenience, or you can find it any place you podcast or on this station each weekday. If we're not on the station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is Monday, and you know what that means. The great sounds of the voice of the Hoosiers. Don Fischer joins us. Hello, Don. Good morning.
Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
Doing fine. Another work day. I'm just trying to figure out what day it is after these last 14 days, it seems, that has not stopped with the crossover basketball, football starting, soccer going on. There's always something happening, but I guess that's good rather than the alternative for both of us.
Well, it's the month of November has been like this for some time now. We talked off mic about it, but it's always been this way, or it shouldn't be say always. It's been this way for probably, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 years now, where we have 7 or 8 ball games for basketball during the month of November, along with 4 football games and talk shows for both coaches. And it just gets busy. And obviously, when the month of November ends, you're really happy about it because it's so busy, and it's very difficult to prepare for all the things that we've got to get ready for. That said, life goes on, and we're almost done with the month of November. So that's the good news.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I forget, the Tom Allen show, I know it comes up this Wednesday at 7:05. How many is there one after the Purdue game? When does that end?
No, we're done. This is our last show. We have 12 shows in football. We have 15 shows in basketball. The last show in basketball usually ends after the last ball game, leading into Big Ten tournament. So that'll be the last show in the basketball season. But we don't have like a year-ending show like you come back after. Primarily because coaches don't want to come back for that last show, win or lose. They're done too. They're ready to give it up as well. So without question, I think it works out the best this way.
Absolutely. Let's see. So we'll look forward to that on Wednesday, and of course tonight is the Mike Whitson's show. But speaking of Tom Allen, of course, this weekend, the bucket game, it is here. Indiana, the last that they have to play for. And it's hard offensively. But I'll be honest with you, I think Grant Gremmel should be starting at quarterback. He just looks more comfortable out there right now. And I know he's played toward the end of the game, so maybe the competition isn't quite as good. But when you talk about Tom Allen says we just need to find a way to win the game, I think Grant Gremmel may be that source with using Donovan McCulley still. But Grant Gremmel probably needs to play more sooner.
Well, without question, the biggest problem Donovan McCulley has had is throwing the ball accurately. We know he's got a great arm. There's no question about that. We know he can run. He has struggled, however, to see the field. It just appears that he's not really seeing. I don't know if he's locked in on one receiver, and that's just how he feels. He's got to go there, but he's not seeing the field right now. Buck Sewer, my color commentator, has said that a couple of times. He's really struggled to see the field because he's making throws that you just would not anticipate that he would make if he was seeing the field. So I don't know, Jim. Right now, it's a real struggle for this football team. And Grant Gremmel is a guy that's been around. He throws it decently. He's not a great quarterback in the sense of a superstar arm or anything like that, but his accuracy is much stronger looking right now than what we're seeing out of Donovan McCulley.
And hopefully, because he's such a great athlete, we can tell that. And of course, there's been so many injuries. 30 guys that they've lost. It's just not making excuses, but at this time of year, it's really tough. They're using a ton of walk-ons in a lot of positions, which in Division I Big Ten football, it's not designed to be playing a ton of walk-ons.
Well, and you're talking about key positions, skill positions. Obviously, the running back spot. I mean, Davion Irvin Poindexter's, he's a walk-on. Chris Childers, he's a walk-on. Those two guys have been playing a lot lately at that running back position. And the other guys that are playing there at this point are freshmen. I mean, Trent Howland played a little bit in this ball game, I'd say. I thought we'd see more of him. David Holloman did not play in the ball game on Saturday, a freshman. I think he might be the most talented of the running backs that they still have on campus at this point. And he is definitely the fastest of those guys. I think we're going to see him on Saturday against Purdue simply because I think they didn't want to burn his redshirt season. And if he would have played last week and this coming week, that redshirt would have been gone. So he can play on Saturday against the Boilermakers and be a factor if, in fact, they utilize him in that vein. So, but again, it's one of those things where either the guy is a walk-on or he's an inexperienced player. And you're dealing with a lot of that in a couple of different positions. And it's just made things tough. And, of course, as we know, the offense just right now just can't move the football. And unless you can move the football, you're going to get beat.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see if they can find some magic on Saturday as the football team travels up to West Lafayette to put a cap on this football season. Basketball on that side last night was a party for Indiana as they took on Louisiana and basically just threw a blanket over them. There was a stretch where they were 0 for 25. I don't know what the record in Simon Scott Assembly Hall is, and I'd like to know. I know JD will find I think the records are lost past a certain date. That's why last night he sent out that one note that this is where they were going towards the lowest defensive percentage stop since 96, 97, which was, I think, the last time that they have records right now, which was 24% then, 19%. That's just nuts. I mean, I don't care. It always comes against a team that's not great, but I don't care. It's a Division I team, man.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I do know. Louisiana is a good basketball program. Bob Marlin, the coach, has been there for 12 years. He has won over 200 games at that school. He generally has really good basketball teams. And the one that was playing last night, they had held their first two opponents to less than 50 points a ball game. And they played a game against Xavier of Louisiana before they played Indiana to go 3-0. and that team basically gave them their toughest ball game. But they had also played Alabama in an exhibition game and gave the Crimson Tide, who is a really good basketball program right now, and they gave them all they could handle, a 5-point loss. So you know that this team was capable of playing and being pretty good, but they couldn't shoot it in the ocean against Indiana last night. They had, like you said, they had a stretch of 0 for 25 from the field in the first half and put only 14 points on the scoreboard. That may also be a record from Indiana's perspective, because I don't remember. Well, it wouldn't be a record because back in the day, as you know, they didn't score a lot of points.
Right.
Back in the 20s, the 10s, back in the early 1900s, they were not putting a lot of points on the scoreboard. But 14 points in this day and age at halftime.
Modern age.
Yeah, that's some kind of a modern record, no question about it. That said, the one thing, and this was interesting because we have Mike on for a post-game interview after every game, and the first thing he talked about were the 27 turnovers. He was not happy with that. So that's interesting too. And here's the other thing. This is the craziest thing. His team turned it over 27 times last night, and he was appalled by that. The first game I did for Indiana in 1973, my first season with IU, the first game I did was against the Citadel. It was my first game with a Bob Knight coach team. And you know how many Indiana won this game by over 20 points. Do you know how many turnovers they had that game?
27.
33. Can you imagine what practice was like the next week for an Indiana basketball team?
I can't imagine what the practice was like that night. What are you talking about?
So you know it's going to be. And Mike, of course, is not coaching like Bob Knight did in the sense of, but his humor it does kind of offset you a little bit. I don't think there'll be much humor about 27 turnovers in practice today. Although the best thing for these players is they got another game tomorrow night, so they're not going to have to absorb more than one practice session before.
Yeah, it's so odd to have a game in which the statistics are so glowingly positive, and you have one that is so unbelievably bad with like those turnovers. It was kind of weird. Another stat though that looked pretty daggone good was on 28 made shots, 22 assists.
Right. And
that shows ball movement, sharing of the ball. That means the offense is just getting more in sync. And Patrick Stewart kind of put a cap on that with his night, Parker Stewart rather, with the night that he had. And he just looked a lot better, especially trying to get inside the 3-point line, not just trying to shoot from outside, pump faking and get inside. He looked very comfortable shooting the ball last night.
Yeah, Parker really was good last evening. It was his best shooting performance since he's put on a Hoosier uniform. It's what I have expected because I've watched this kid shoot. I saw him last year in practices before games or just when he was out there shooting the basketball when the other team was practicing, when his teammates were practicing last year. He just has such a good looking stroke. I mean, it looks so easy when he shoots it. And last night it started to go in, and I happened to be walking out of the arena last night at the same time Parker was leaving. He had a bunch of cookies with him, and he was excited about the fact he was going to eat cookies when he got back to his apartment. But at any rate, I said, finally they started going in. He says, yeah, I didn't know if that was ever going to come back. But he was pretty happy, and obviously I think everybody's happy for him because this kid can shoot the basketball. It's just going to be a matter of being consistent with it. But you saw basically what you could see from him most of the rest of this year.
And then another kid that it just jumps off, both of them, Christian Lander. He played 24 minutes last night. No one played more than him than Miller Kopp. And 9 points, 3 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 at the free throw line. He had 6 rebounds and 6 assists. That's a hell of a night for a guy that – this is the same kid we saw last year that when he was on the floor, he was had a deer in the headlights. It's like, holy God, it's like he couldn't wait to get off the floor.
Well, Christian is a kid that last year came to Indiana as a high school senior. I think this is just my personal opinion. I think he could have played high school basketball last year and had a tremendous year for Evansville Rights and come back to Indiana this year and be more mature like he is this year. He's more mature than he was a year ago. He's not nearly the deer in the headlight looks when he gets out there on the floor. He understands Coach Woodson's system pretty well, I think, at this point, based on what we saw last evening. I just think last year was a lost year for him in so many respects. Maybe it helped him grow up, though. Not playing a lot, not being able to sit on the bench and see what other guys are doing. Maybe that helped him. I don't know, but I think he could have benefited as much from having a senior year of high school basketball as he did last season, sitting on a bench and absorbing the kind of season it was at IU. Although maybe that helped him too, realizing that you don't go out there and do what the coaches are asking you to do. You're probably not going to play number one, and number two, you're not going to win like you want to win. So maybe it helped him in both ways. Who knows? Right now it's a lost situation. It's not anything to worry about. But what we saw from that kid last night was really good.
Well, you get to have a coach's show tonight at 7:05 at Southern Stone with a coach coming off of a win, which is always a lot more fun than the alternative. So that'll be good out there tonight.
Yeah, Mike Woodson, Inside IU Basketball, 7:05 this evening at Southern Stone Restaurant. And Charlie, did you just oversleep or what happened, man?
No, computer, man. I think my computer overslept. Who knows, man? Computer is not cooperating this morning.
I understand.
Charlie's usually always on it, man.
Trusty, I can tell you this much, Charlie. If you even came close to getting it fixed, it's 10 times better than what I would have, because I'd have just shut the daggone thing off.
Yeah, we figured it out this morning, so yeah.
Well, Don, I know you got to get going, brother. We appreciate you so much and look forward to hearing you on the broadcast again tomorrow. But tonight, make sure you either tune in or not go to Southern Stone Restaurant at Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington for the Mike Woodson Show at 7:05 Inside IU Basketball with Don Fischer. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Yep, we'll talk to you again next Monday.
All right, thank you, Don.
Absolutely.
Hey, guys.
Hey, we got plenty more coming up. Charlie Miller, we've got basketball to talk about and everything else. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
The baseball season is...
Hello, Charlie.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Pretty good, brother. How are you doing, man?
Good.
Sorry you had to deal with that this morning, Charlie.
No, it's okay, man. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry that we had the issues. So I don't. Who knows why it happens.
Did you have anything plugged or unplugged differently than you normally do?
Well, there was a Bluetooth USB I've been using that I'm not using. I figured that out. But then I don't know if it was my computer was on and it needed to just be reset.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also appreciate you adjusting to the time difference for us.
Oh, no, man. I mean, I wanted to adjust to it. I mean, it's almost like I guess it took me the adjustment period to get right.
It took me.
Yeah. How has Assembly Hall been, Jim?
Good. Last night, it was a Thanksgiving week, so the students aren't here, but that means people that get to go to games that don't normally get to go to games. It's kind of funny too, as I'm sitting in my media seat, I can see a lot of people walking in because they're right in front of me, coming in from the main entrance. Right. See all these people doing these selfies. Everybody doing a selfie because they ain't been to Assembly Hall before, so they're in there doing a selfie.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, we got a pair of tickets we can give away.
Nice. I like that.
Just remembered that. Ticket giveaway. Ticket giveaway.
Do it right now or today?
Today or tomorrow.
Cool.
The game's tomorrow night.
That's true, man. This is the quickest turnaround they've had so far.
Man, that's how it happens. Especially this time of year when you're not playing anybody.
They do it in the Big Ten sometimes. Not often, but it feels like it.
Yeah, it does once it gets going. You can.
Yeah,
have a
it's like
quick turnaround.
twice a week.
I'd say other than Purdue, the top of the Big Ten is not looking very sharp so far.
Purdue may be the best team in the Big Ten.
And maybe to be even more, I don't even know what the word is, but they could be the best team in the country potentially. I don't know that that's true, but they could be.
Not.
Hey, I'm not saying they are. I'm saying they could be.
Man.
Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indie Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Monday. Charlie Miller with us as always. Just finished up with the great Don Fischer, the voice of the Hoosiers. Indiana basketball coming off of a big win last night, Charlie. They looked good, did everything right except hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
27 turnovers in that game. I think that part of that was a product of you're playing a team that you're crushing. It's kind of hard to stay mentally locked in on the defense as you would normally and you probably take chances that you wouldn't take and all that kind of crap. But you can't do that, and that's what the coach will say. Always got to be locked in.
Yeah, lopsided victory. Looking at some interior passes that shouldn't have been even attempted. Just you're up so big. You got such a big margin. There might be a little room to kind of, try some things out, but you can't have that many turnovers. But other than that, what I like in all the games I've witnessed is we are playing quicker. We just look loose.
Passes, even the
we're
passes.
ripping. Yes,
you say that. Because last year I sat there and watched how lazy the passes were.
Yeah.
They were almost telegraphed.
Yeah.
I get the ball from you. Okay, I'm going to turn
Yeah.
it. Now I'm going to pass it to you. It was telegraphed.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's supposed to be. Boom, boom.
But it also, you could tell too, right? You could tell too, there was one or two people that were responsible for handling the ball last year. Now you could tell the difference on identity. It's rip and go. Whoever gets it, push it. And I'm seeing everybody push the ball up the court, get the ball up the sideline.
The bigs. Yeah, the bigs will bring the ball up the
There's
court.
a big emphasis I'm seeing on get it, rip it, push it, run the lanes. Anybody can be a rim runner. Then they always have to be race. I think when you're playing like that, they look loose, not chasing mistakes. Man, it looks clean. It looks really, it looks like they're having fun again, right? I mean, there's always fun when you win, but it looks like they're having some fun.
Yeah, not a great night for Geronimo. He played 21 minutes, and he had 3 points. Childress, a walk-on off the bench, 5 points. 3 points in 5 minutes played. Geronimo 1 of 7 from the floor, 0 of 2 from behind the 3-point line, and he had 4 personal fouls and 5 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean,
that's grabby. He's behind, step behind right there.
You hope a game like this, after what he did in St. John, you hope this is just an anomaly, right? You want to, the margin of victory is so big, you just hope that this was a glitch and you could take this and build on. And to me, for him, this is pretty good because, heck, we haven't even seen him play. Consistent, 2 years ago. So you just hope that, this is one of those experience situations that you just got to play through, and he'll be better next game for that.
Miller Kopp played the most minutes of anyone, 30 minutes, 7 points. He only took 3 shots. He was more of a facilitator. Trace Jackson Davis, a very pedestrian 11-7, only played 19 minutes.
Yeah.
But he was doing his thing.
Yeah.
Didn't have to do much. Race Thompson, 8-8 in 19 minutes. Again, 3 of 4, just solid. Where's the assist? Yeah, they both had a pair of assists also, especially usually to each other. But Parker Stewart, man, big night for him.
Yeah.
He had 16 points, a confident night for him.
Yes.
The minute he made those first threes like they were butter. I mean, just looked like butter.
Yeah.
But the minute he stepped inside that 3-point line and hit those elbow jumpers, I'm like, that's what he has to do. He's got to mix that up, man, and get those out and just get out from behind that 3-point line and not let that be the make or break situation and make people fear him all over the floor, and which is kind of what he did last night.
Yeah, that's your counter. As a shooter, you need to have a counter, and they run you off that 3-point line, and that 1 dribble, 2 dribble pull-up jump shot, that's your counter. And if he can make that shot, that can help. That's going to help us big time, where we would normally be hurt in certain areas. But that's big to see.
4 or 5 from behind the 3-point line. I think most coaches will take that every night.
Take that every night, exactly.
Every night and twice on Sunday. Then the other name that I talked about with Don is, Christian Lander.
Yeah, he played well.
Is he looking so much better from what we have seen from him? And he looks like a player. He's playing his way. I sent out a tweet last night that he's playing his way into that whittled down Big Ten rotation that's coming. Because when Big Ten season comes, that rotation is going to be tightened up a little bit. And Christian's working his way into that. Now, of course, they don't have Rob or Finney right now, which that's a little bit of a loss. Christian's showing that, hey, I can play in here. I can get to the rim. He just got to keep his defense up. But he's fast, man. He can score as he did last night. 9 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 1 of 3 behind the 3-point line, 2 of 2 at the free throw line. He had 6 rebounds, 6 assists.
It was good to see. It was good to watch. I mean, it was good to watch, especially knowing, again, you sacrifice your high school season, your senior season to come. So it might have been a learning year for him. And that's really good because, I mean, he looked different. He looked like a totally different player watching him on the court yesterday versus what I seen last year. So to me, I think these are all upgrades, Jim. I mean, everyone looks, I mean, I'm just hoping we can keep this up. We look better.
Viper asking about having to wait for volleyball game to end to watch the basketball. He says, I hope we are heading to a time when IU basketball does not play second fiddle. Yeah, I don't know
that's
if
scheduled.
That matters. Yeah, that's network
big
stuff, man. They're not going to go away from the end of a contest. They just never do. Why you would schedule something before a live event like that, I don't know. But they should have moved. I agree with you. But hey, I don't know. Maybe volleyball draws the ratings in. I didn't know until a couple of years ago that the Big Ten women's is the dominant volleyball league in the country. Because it doesn't make sense. I'm thinking, West Coast teams, UCLA, USC, all that Arizona, maybe down to Texas, Florida, where it's warm, where they play volleyball all the time. Oh, hell no. It's Penn State, it's Wisconsin, it's all the Big Ten teams. I'm like, wow, what? So a little surprise that I learned there. So,
you also probably might want to consider too the opponent that we were playing. No disrespect. I guarantee you if that was a Purdue-Indiana game, that would not happen. I almost can feel that way. That will not happen.
How many turnovers Louisiana had?
How many?
12.
Well, they didn't have many possessions either. What? Because they scored 36 points. Is that right?
44.
44? Yeah, think about that. That's probably 15, 18, 20 max offensive possessions.
Well, here's a stat for you that I found. They had 37 rebounds. Indiana out rebounded them, of course, but they had 37 total rebounds. Of those, 21 were offensive.
That's scary.
21 offensive rebounds versus 16 defensive rebounds out of 37.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever seen that, man.
Yeah, that's normally not the case.
That's crazy.
21 offensive rebounds and you couldn't convert. That's wow.
19%.
Yeah.
They had a guy go 0 for 8, 1 for 7, 1 for 6, 0 for 2, 0 for 5, 0 for 1, 0 for 4, 0 for 2, 0 for 1. And then the guys that hit, they were like 3 for 15, 4 for 10. But 14 of 73 overall. In the first half, they hit 4 shots.
Yeah, that's tough.
The entire first 4 of 34. That's got to be really
That's
in
hard.
the locker room at halftime. That's
that's intimidation. That's big stage. Not saying they're not used to it. That's home. To me, that's the advantage of playing at home too. When you got a team like that might be a more weaker opponent. You're just not used to that style of play. So yeah, that's tough.
Now they're not going to work hard today, and they have another game tomorrow. You got to come right back and play again tomorrow. I know that's got to be this early. You're getting your legs under you, but that's got to be tough coming back that quick.
Well, and
maybe not in a game like this where everybody played.
Well, right, but then also too, you got to look at it like this. I mean, just kind of going off reflection. When you have these kind of games, you look at these as a series. Like there's an assessment that the coaches and the staff and the players we're putting together. Okay, guys, we have 2 games in a matter of 3 or 4 days, so we have to prepare, for that. The way you rest up, the way you practice. They're going to have a good practice. I feel because it's so early in the season, they're going to go at each other. They're going to have a good practice. Maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes of some competitive nature, but a lot of shots, get a lot of shots up, a lot of film, a lot of therapy to get ready to play. Because you still can't take whoever you play against, you can't take them lightly. I mean, these are college teams. You hope to come out as victors, but you don't want to take teams lightly because you don't want to play too sloppy, especially coming off of 24 turnovers. You got to show that up, and you hope to see that. That's one good thing about these kind of games, Jim. You can make up for the 24 turnovers can be made up this particular game coming up tomorrow.
One of the things that kind of cracks me up is it's part of the Hoosier Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back in the day, they actually had, it was like a back-to-back day. They would have 2 teams come in.
Right.
There was the Indiana Classic,
right,
where they beat up on 2 nobodies, and then there was the Hoosier Classic, which was the same thing. Now, I guess they do this. It used to be back-to-back days, which I guess I understand not playing back-to-back days, but it felt more like they would give the losing team their gifts afterwards and all that good stuff. Thanks for coming. Here's your ass whipping, and we'll see you next year.
So funny story. Steve Downing, remember Steve Downing, right?
Of course.
Okay. So every year for these type of tournaments, the winning team would get the biggest prize.
Yeah.
He would come into the locker room and ask, what do we want? Because I remember one year was a TV with a VCR. That was like, wow, all in one, because that's what the winning team got. One year was like a watch. So he would come in the locker room and ask what we want, and to make a mockery of you're going to beat these 2 teams, whoever they were. and you're gonna come away with the biggest prize. So so it's funny you say that, but I want to share a backstory with that. It's kind of was a given. We were looking forward to those type of gifts.
What's the best gift that you got?
I think it was the TV with the VCR. I mean, because there was think about it. I mean, this was like to have it all in one, where you could pop in a VCR into a TV.
Well,
that was like new wave. Like it was a little small one too, probably like a 20, 21, 25-inch TV. But that was pretty like
fat. Was it fat like this?
Yeah, a little small one like this. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Oh heck yeah! I mean,
especially back then. Again, when you talk about it was separated.
You have to carry your gift with two hands.
Right. So yeah. So I think that was the most impressive gift that we received playing those type of the Hoosier Classic and all those, tournaments we were hosted at home. I don't think everyone lost one.
Oh no, that did not happen.
Yeah.
There were other things that you guys got to play in where that would happen. I don't know if you got to play in the Hoosier or the over in Hawaii or not, or did you?
Yeah.
What's the best gift you ever got from anywhere?
Well, I remember. I mean, I think it was pretty impressive when you would get the NCAA watch for going to the tournament. I mean, I think remember they were giving out watches.
I never got one, so I wouldn't know.
So literally, as now it's like a toy for my son, but this is what you would get every time you made. They don't do it anymore, but when you made the NCAA, when you postseason, you got a watch.
Better put that thing up, man. Don't let him tear that up.
Oh no, we have them all up. Now it's just I have it up. My son.
You have 4 of them.
Yeah. So I mean, that was back then. Now I think they they get jackets and they get all kind of stuff. Who knows? But to me, that was pretty cool because it was something that you would hear about as a high school player. That watch. For going to the tournament. That tournament's still a big deal. That still was a big deal. Yeah, you didn't win it, but that was a big deal going. Knowing what you did all season to put yourself in a position to play postseason against different teams across the country. So yeah.
Was there anything else that they gave you in the tournament? If you went to the second round, did you get anything?
No, I don't recall anything because my senior year we went second round. We played Oklahoma and lost to them. Lost to UConn my senior year. But yeah, there was nothing that you got back then. I don't know what they're doing now.
Hey, we got to take a break. Let's see. We got plenty more to talk about. Like I said, yesterday, a lot of football yesterday and basketball last night and tomorrow night. So it keeps on rolling. The bucket game is this week. There's all kinds of stuff going on. We're back with it here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends, Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Realty. Hey, if you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore's 2 decades of experience. Reach out to her. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
If you're in the market.
All right.
And we struggled shooting free throws, didn't we?
I actually did pretty
no.
decent last night, I think.
Did
No,
last
last night they were okay. They didn't shoot a lot, though. That's another thing.
Yeah.
They didn't shoot a lot. They shot only.
I tell you what, Louisiana shot horribly, not just from the free throw line, but terribly. They looked like they couldn't hit.
They were only Indiana was no, that's not Indiana. Damn it. Split box. Indiana shot 77%.
That's
10 of 13.
Good.
I think Race probably the only player that really didn't shoot well from the line that I can remember. What was Race's numbers?
2 of 3.
Oh, he only shot 3? Okay.
Free throws, everybody was fine that shot. Miller Kopp, 2 of 2. Trace Jackson Davis, 3 of 3. Race was 2 of 3. Lander was 2 of 2. Geronimo, 1 of 3. Geronimo just had a shitty night all the way around.
What do you say, Charlie?
And I said, thank you, Tim. I'm just looking
Oh,
at the
okay.
comment.
Yeah, Indiana was 54% from the field overall, while they held them to 19%.
I bet you haven't seen numbers like that since the Crean days.
Well, that 19% is the lowest since.
Oh, not the defense. I'm talking about the shooting numbers.
Oh, but the sad thing is, I think they've lost the basketball records prior to 1996.
How do you lose those?
I don't know how that's possible, but that's why JD always references going back to 1996.
Somebody was cooking the books.
I don't know how in the world you can lose records. They've got to be on paper somewhere. You would think.
Yes.
Maybe not.
I mean, 96. I mean, that's a lot of records lost.
Charlie, what do you have going on too that we need to talk about?
Yeah. So, nothing other than what we've been talking about, man. I'm really building out my online content. Recording a lot of videos.
I've got to get you hooked up with my guy up here.
Here we go. Coming back.
Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you on this Monday. I got to keep saying Monday, Charlie, because these days are just running together.
You should do.
Let's see. What was Florida fires Dan Mullen? College football, the line has changed, man. Coaches are being fired mid-season now. And as ADs try to get a jump on the early signing period, which is next month in December, Jacoby Hewitt for Indiana has hit the transfer portal. There's going to be guys that leave. Every year there's going to be guys that leave. I don't care if you're winning or losing.
Yeah.
There's going to be guys that leave. There's going to be guys that if you're winning, they want to be playing. And if they're not, they're like, well, I'm going somewhere else. And if you're losing, obviously, it doesn't matter. I mean, of course, it's probably going to be more one way or the other, but you're always with this portal now. There's no way. And 125 guys on a team, Charlie. There's no way you're not going to have guys leaving every daggone year.
Yeah, and here's the part. It's accepted, right? I mean, the players have the right, and this used to be like a taboo topic. Like, you dare not talk in the locker room about transferring. If you did, that was like between one or two people. Nobody knew about it. Even if your teammates got wind of that, at least in our situation, we're going to look at you different. Now it's accepted, and again, you gotta. That's kind of why for me it's like, man, it's so hard. Are players committed? Are they really committed to excellence? Are they really committed to winning and galvanizing and development? When you're not getting your way, win, lose, or draw, you want to go somewhere else where you go. So that's where for me, it has to be a major adjustment for a lot of coaches, and they also now have that right too, right? I mean, I can only imagine that Indiana football. They're going to hit the transfer portal hard. It's going to be a big sell job, because I mean, why would I want to come somewhere where you went 2 for, 8, 2 for 9? Why would I want to do that? That has to be a big sales job.
Yeah, they're going to have to. And it's going to be more difficult this year.
Yeah.
And obviously than it was last year.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not, because you get those guys that say, all right, I know what your problem was, and I'm the guy that can fix that.
Exactly. I can help you out. Yeah, I'm going to get the minutes. Exactly right.
And you want those guys.
Mhm.
I mean, you want those guys that want to play.
Mhm.
So we'll see what they can get done. But they have another game coming up, and it's the bucket game. Now, you can never tell what's going to happen in a game like that normally. I think Indiana needs to start Grant Gremmel at quarterback. Charlie, Grant Gremmel is a walk-on. He's fourth string, and now he's playing a lot. He's played quite a bit more in these last couple of games, but when he's been in there, he's throwing the ball, and he's throwing it more comfortably than Donovan McCulley. I think part of the problem this year is Indiana just decided who their quarterbacks were going to be without really having a true
Competition. Yeah.
Because, and I'm not saying that Grant Gremmel's better than what Michael Penix was last year, but that was last year. And you should have been able to see through spring and summer that Michael Penix was not the Michael Penix. And until he shouldn't have been QB number one, because all you're doing now is you're taking reps away from people that you could have been preparing. And then, so Jack Tuttle doesn't get prepared. When he comes in, he doesn't look that good. And he's been here 3 years. He was a top 11 quarterback in the country, not developed. Then you've got Donovan McCulley, not ready to throw the ball.
Right.
But then you've got this kid, this fourth-string kid, this walk-on who comes in and just – the other night after the game, we were talking to him. I wish you had this I should have told John to pull this up, but he was asked about pressure. He said, I don't believe in pressure. And John, we'll have to get that pulled up later, but it was just a great, great clip. I don't believe in pressure. He just is. This guy's a fourth-string walk-on.
Hey man, you've been on.
Never going to play in a Big Ten game, and now he's out there, and he throws the first touchdown to a wide receiver for Indiana since the Idaho game.
Man, that's big.
So, but yeah, he just stand there just as calm as he can be. Now, I know he's not playing in the very beginnings, but I don't care. He should be starting. He's just comfortable. When he says I don't believe in pressure, I believe him because it looks like it on the floor. And to not do that, that's special.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to think about this. He's been watching, waiting his turn, so he's been counted out.
Thinking it's never going to come.
Bingo. He's been watching, waiting his turn, being patient. And now there's a lot of ammunition behind that, taking a very confident stake at, hey, what's pressure? I don't believe in it because he's been under it. He's been under it big time. Now you having your opportunity. So that's pretty impressive on his side.
Yeah, I'm quickly pulling up. He in the limited time that he played, he was 5 of 12 for 60 yards with a touchdown. The only touchdown Indiana had, of course. A quarterback rating of 111. I think that's probably the highest quarterback rating Indiana has had in weeks.
Wow.
So he threw for 60 of Indiana's 77 passing yards in his limited time of playing.
Yeah.
Indiana just tried to run the ball. You cannot be a one-dimensional team, man. They're going to do exactly what they did and shut that down. Even with that, Indiana only had 141 rushing yards versus 195 to Minnesota, who had a great mix. They had 196 passing yards. So, buddy, that's very, very balanced. Indiana couldn't throw the ball. They brought Gremmel in. He gets, those 60 of 77 yards. He's got to start next week. He has to start. If they have any chance to win the game, Indiana needs to start a fourth-string walk-on. I don't care.
Yeah.
You have to bite the bullet, man.
Yeah. And I mean, that's again, your quarterback to me is like, that's the second head coach. Your quarterback is not in position. You don't have an identity in that position, man. I don't see you winning a lot of games. I just really don't. It's been a carousel at that position. So you hope this young man does a good job. He gets his starting opportunity next week.
And everybody, there was questions like, well, what are you going to do to Donovan McCulley's confidence? Man, that's the problem that Indiana has had. They're worried about that. You can't worry about that when you're trying to win a game. And it's big boy football. You can't. I'm not saying there's not times to massage confidence and this and that. When it's about winning a game, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
We're on scholarship, not guaranteed contract. There's no guarantee on playing time like there is at the professional level, where you may have to play somebody due to contractual obligations. No, this is like what Coach Woodson talks about. Can't guarantee you anything other than you need to compete for your position. We're going to put the best people out there that gives us an opportunity to win, be consistent, and compete. And, that's just where it's at. You cannot do that. You can't.
No. Logan Duncombe suspended for 3 games from the Indiana basketball team. Ross commenting on that, saying his suspension was surprisingly worse than Few's DUI, I guess. Different things, man. You break team rules. It's a minimum 3-game suspension. It just is what it is.
What happened? I didn't even know about that.
Well, I don't know. Breaking team rules. You know, that old-fashioned breaking team rules, what that is. So I mean, a lot of things.
Well, I tell you what, that's pretty. I take that from last year and what I would hear and what wouldn't happen to the players and what they were doing. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, let's see. Michael, what do you say? Boom, boom. I missed it.
I got that clip ready if you want to use it.
Let's hear it.
Pressure's fake. I don't believe in pressure. I mean, confidence or preparation creates confidence. Coach Allen preaches that all the time. Everyone preaches that, but I don't believe in pressure. It's all a mindset. So, I mean, if I start, I start. If Donovan starts, great. I mean, we're doing everything we can to win, so it doesn't matter.
There you go. Exactly. Hey, look.
String walk-on. Fourth string. That's a 4th string walk-on.
So you got to realize something for me. What's been carrying this kid this whole time is Coach Allen's words. Because he's believed him so much. Look at the position he's in now. So now when you get this position, he really believes that. I mean, look at where I was at in the position. If I start, I start. I don't, and I'm going to step up and do my best. He's a disciple. It's just that unfortunately they're losing. Well, you can't really, we can't really glorify what this kid is saying, because they're losing, and that's going to be overlooked. But that's a huge boost for him and what he's doing and what he's been believing in. And I can only imagine every practice, every game, whether he plays or not, he's ready to go.
6'3". What is? Oh, I just lost it. Where did he go? Just had him pulled up. Daggone it. There we go. Kid from Noblesville, little hometown kid. I shouldn't say kid. I always call all these guys kids.
I mean, I get it.
I'm trying to look. He's a redshirt sophomore. On top of that, he's young. So put him in the game, Coach. I'm saying start Grant Grimrell. What do you have to lose? Nothing. You've lost 7 damn straight games.
That's right.
And so I say start Grant. You use Donovan in situations, Wildcat maybe or something. But
exactly.
Grant Grimmel's got to start this game.
You need to mix up your playing call. You need to throw everything at Purdue. Throw everything you can at them.
I agree. But how about that Grant Grimmel clip? I mean, how about a walk-on, a guy who probably just never expected to see the field. He's just a sophomore on top of that, because he's got Michael Penix, he's got Jack Tuttle, he's got Donovan McCulley, he's got all those guys in front of him. Dexter Williams was in front of him, and so he's never going to see the field. He's just a practice dummy.
Hey, look, every possession this kid's taking, he's taking to heart, and he is being patient, and he's finally getting this opportunity. So I truly believe, man. You can see it. What is that? I don't believe in it. I don't want to pump it. I don't want to tell you, hey man, you're the 4th quarterback. You a walk on. Why tell him? Think he knows what his position's at. He knows. He knows what he's doing. He's working on.
Yeah, he saw no action last year. Offensive Scout Team Player of the Week versus Maryland. He was an academic All-Big Ten selection. But now in this season, he's appeared in 3 games, made his collegiate debut against Idaho. He was 3 of 4 for 9 yards against Ohio State. He completed his first career pass to Peyton Hendershot in the second quarter. He went 6 of 12 for 53 yards against Rutgers. This dude, I mean, are you kidding me? He's throwing for 50% in these games.
Yep.
And then he throws the touchdown pass in the last game.
And you got to also put this in mind. You're doing that, not realizing if you're going to play or not. Because, I mean, think about that. Like, you don't know if you're going to play. I think that's been situational. And that means you're player ready. You are ready to play when you get in that game. That means you being alert on the sidelines. You being aware. You're watching. You're not just out there sulking because you're not getting, possessions or reps. That's good. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I asked Tom Allen about Grimmel. John, I don't know if you can pull that one up. I was toward the end when I asked that question to him in the presser after the game. But, I think I asked him that, we've seen him in both of these games. So, and that was brought up in the post game about looking at it. And he's like, yeah, we'll look at this. But it always seems like they're looking at things after it's brought up or after it's become obvious.
Well, reactionary, right?
That has been the problem with Indiana football this year.
Yeah.
They made too many mistakes. I think the coaching staff made too many mistakes prior to the season and set themselves up for failure.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, and it's easy to say that from my seat.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Understood.
I'm not saying that I could have done a better job, but I just think that they predetermined too many things.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you've set a course. And you're not allowing the winds to kind of blow you, which I know can't be that free, but you've already charted a course that was bound for not a good finish.
Well, again, no, did you set the tone with change in mind? If you set the tone with fixed players, positions, that's going to be tough when things don't go right, because now who you going to rely on? So it's right.
Let's see. Ohio State jumps up to number 2 in the college football playoff AP poll, jumping over some peeps. I think that's correct. They're looking pretty damn good. They're just looking solid. I know they lost to Oregon earlier in the year, but now they're looking just smooth. The quarterback is looking smooth. CJ Stroud it looks so comfortable. He's got so much protection. They've got these greatest receivers in the country. They were playing a top 10 team on Saturday in Michigan State, which they're kind of a bogus top 10 team. Well, they're not nearly as good as what people think they are, Michigan State. But they're not. They shouldn't be that bad to where they take the beating that they took, and Michigan gave them that. And Ohio State gave that. Now it's Michigan Ohio State week, baby. That's going to be interesting because Michigan is ranked 6th in the country. Jim Harbaugh's quietly got the Wolverines navigated through. They lost 1 game this season, but he hasn't beaten Ohio State since he's been at Michigan. I don't know. Is it 0-7 now? Whatever it is, it's over. And that's the one thing that just sticks in the craw of these Michigan people. Is not able to beat Michigan. It's like not beating Purdue in basketball for 9 straight times.
Listen, that's in your mind. That's in your mind. You you know, you're gonna say all the right things at the presser, but what's also weighing on you is being in those situations on both sides. When team, I was thinking that, Don. I didn't want to say it. I let it go.
Shoot, yeah, that and not being able is
The
teams
adjustment.
being able to shoot there's a whole bunch
I
of
let it
stuff
go.
that killed our team.
I let it go. But yeah, I've been there when you are game planning for teams you have not beat, and you're trying to say all the right things, and you know that formidable outcome that you don't want to happen. Just the ball just doesn't fall for you against those teams. That's so. I can only imagine how hyped up he might be this week.
Well, yeah, he's got a team at where are they playing that game? Where is Michigan at Ohio State? That's
it's in Ann Arbor.
Well, that helps, I guess. That's going to be a great environment. I'd like to be there just to hear the noise. But we got to take a quick break off on the time. But hey, we'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration.
Jim Reamer should be joining us this segment if he's available. If not, he'll be at the next one.
What position did Jacoby play?
He was wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Oh, he was wide receiver. Oh, damn. He was. Well,
he had a big match against Penn State last year in the game they won in overtime on that drive that led him to get him to overtime. I know he hadn't done much this year, but he probably could have developed into something if all this wasn't going on.
Yeah, the thing about that transfer portal too, I can imagine now you have to explain yourself as to why you had such a mediocre year.
Well, it's funny he did it during the basketball game. It's like he thought he could just dip out while people weren't paying attention. Or that's when it was revealed, I guess. I don't know if that's when he put his name in, but
yes. There's a question. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's easy. Winner of the Big Ten East and probably subsequently the Big Ten is going to be in the college football playoff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Cincinnati, didn't they beat SMU pretty good?
They crushed them, man.
Yeah, like 27.
And I what was I going to say? Yeah, I was doing like a little parlay bet, and I'm like, nah, that scared me. That 11 points against SMU, and then they end up just crushing them. Which
did you get your parlay this weekend, by the way?
Well, I end up betting several because
okay,
but I end up coming out ahead like a couple hundred.
That's good.
I only bet
I've
more
never
if I
bet.
win.
Well, I worry that I will get addicted to it.
I'm betting like $50. But I started with like 100 and I'm up to 600.
Good morning, Mr. Reamer.
What's happening?
Hey, Jim.
New surroundings. We'll see how this goes.
Like, who is this guy?
Coming back.
All right.
Bloomington has the deals for you. How about a brand new 2021 or 2022 Honda Pilot? All the trims for 0% APR financing over 48 months and $0 down. Or how about a brand new 2021 Honda Passport? Also 0% APR financing over 48 months and $0 down. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you on this Monday. I hope you're having a good day. It's sun shining outside. So that means it's a beautiful day. Jim Reamer joins us. How are you, sir?
Doing well, man. Thanks. How are you, Charlie?
You bet.
Doing well, Jim.
Good.
Charlie Miller with us as always. Monday Night Football tonight. The Giants at Tampa Bay. Little Tom Brady action. Did you watch any football yesterday, Jim Reamer? Do you watch any football?
I watched a lot of football yesterday. The Colts.
You watch the Colts?
Oh,
Man.
God, yeah. I'm a Colts. I mean, I've been a Colts fan since. It was so well since they got here. It was easy. I grew up a Cowboy fan, so
I grew up hating the Cowboys, man.
Yeah, you can't hate the Cowboys.
But I hated them because my
fan.
brother loved them. So my younger brother, he started liking the Cowboys. And I'm like, you're only liking them because they're winning. And it drove me nuts because I was a Rams fan and I stuck with them no matter what. And he was young and
so
became a Cowboys fan.
Think about, I was born in 70. So my favorite teams are Indiana basketball, right? 75, 76, that time frame. Cincinnati Reds, 75, 76, Big Red Machine. Dallas Cowboys, and not only were those teams good, but those teams were also on almost every time. Without the Colts, people growing up don't realize we either got Cowboys games or Bears games. And, for the most part, we got Cowboys games because the Bears were awful. So and it's been easy to root for the Cowboys still, even though the Colts are here because they're in separate conferences. And I'd love for them to square off in the Super Bowl. Sometime I'd be more than happy to watch that. So. And then that Sunday night game last night was crazy. Did you watch that?
I did not. Who even was that?
Well, the Chargers ended up scored late and beat the Steelers. Yeah, Steelers scored 17 points in about, I don't know, it seemed like 4.5 minutes and took a late lead. And then, of course, Herbert marches him down and scores a game-winning touchdown. And I fell asleep thinking the Steelers were going to win. So.
Well, don't worry. Well, we'll get all that we want tomorrow when Mike DeCourcy's on with us. Big Steeler fan, guy from the Pittsburgh area. So, yeah, I missed that game, unfortunately. I had the IU game to deal with in the post-game show with Joe Hillman. If you haven't listened to that, folks, go please do. It's good. Joe Hillman does a great job. And looking forward to the post-game shows having different former IU players on. Charlie, of course, one of those as well. We've already had Steve Risley on. Actually, we've had 2 national champions on already. Steve Risley from the 81 team and Joe Hillman from the 87 team. Man, I need to dip back to the 76 team and just make it a trifecta. But looking forward to that. Indiana, a big win last night, Jim, and beating Louisiana to death in every way except for the turnovers with the 27 turnovers, but 22 assists on 28 made buckets, 54% shooting. They shot 77% from the free throw line. They shot what was it from 3-point? I can't find my 3-point percentage was
10 for 19, 52%.
52%. I mean, that's a number that has not been seen. I wonder how long it's been seen since a 52% number on 3-point shots when at least 10 or more have been taken. That has to go back years. Was there a game that they got lucky?
There were a couple. There've been a couple games I think the last couple of years, but they were outliers. Charlie, if your starters only have 8 turnovers, are you overly worried about the guys that aren't used to getting 20, 25 minutes a game, turning it over 19 times?
Well, 4 of those came from Xavier.
That's what I was saying. It's early.
That's true.
Yeah, it's early, and that's what
But
go ahead.
But the D'Antoni theory of turnovers is if you're going to have one guy initiate the offense almost every single time, and he's also your best penetrator.
Well,
you're going to look more at team turnovers than you are.
Yeah.
In that case, the starters had 8 turnovers. Now 4 turnovers in 16 minutes, granted, is not great. And I watched the first half only. I did not watch the second half. I figured it was I was with people, we were watching football, so I figured that would be a hard sell to get them to watch what was turning into quickly a blowout. But I don't know the makeup of his turnovers or even how many he had, say, in the first half when the game was still in question.
Right. X Johnson, he just needs that's too many for him to have in just 16 minutes. And I think that'll be an outlier. Mike will get him settled down. Christian Lander, young, still growing, 4 turnovers. Yeah, that's part of the youth. Geronimo he had 5 turnovers. Nice. He is, and his was nice view. Hello. What's the name?
My new buddy.
Whiskers.
What's Hunter? It's the Hunter kitten. There's 2 new kittens running around here somewhere. Well, one of them's not running around. The other one is.
But Geronimo, 5 turnovers. That was a big outlier there, and something that Coach Woodson mentioned in the postgame presser that he's just doing stuff with the ball that he shouldn't have been doing.
Was he over penetrating?
You know what? I think he was trying to force some passes and just handling the ball a little bit too much, doing things that he shouldn't have been doing. But like I said, Lander, Don commenting on Lander, say he was at Assembly Hall last night. Lander committed a bunch of those turnovers. But that's youth, man. He got his first. He's getting his first taste, right, Charlie? I mean,
but that's what I was saying. I mean, you got such a big margin, and I'm not saying it's okay, but let's get all these. Let's get it out so now we can start telling you the mental mindset to have when you're playing against Michigan State, Purdue. When you're playing against better teams, this might cost you.
Well, not every turnover is the same, right, Charlie?
Right.
I mean,
right.
I mean, sure, it costs you. Every turnover is an opportunity, is a missed opportunity to get a shot up. But
right.
But there's two theories. One, there's acts of commission versus acts of omission.
Correct.
Right? Are you being aggressive?
Correct.
Is that a night thing, or is that something that's just everybody?
Well, no.
I mean,
you say that.
Would you get
or take me back? But
if you were penetrating versus just making horrible, if you're throwing the inside half of your teammate's body as you're reversing the ball, that's probably a much worse deal in any coach's mind, let alone Coach Knight's mind, than penetrating the paint, dropping it off, and maybe having the ball go out of bounds. I mean, if turnovers are, that's the other side of it. Was turnovers, are they creating loose possessions? Or are they creating dead possessions?
Exactly.
And the loose possessions are the things you can't have.
Right.
And the dead possessions, you don't want them, but at least you get a chance to set your defense up.
Well, there you go. And I was going to say, if you turn the ball over, you can take the ball out, not loose ball where now it's a live ball, fast break opportunity. So I think he's trying to make plays. That's what I like about it. I'm seeing a difference. He's looking to make plays. Drama looking to make plays. Might have over-penetrated. That's what I think that was about. So I think these are things you can shore up and a part of the identity, especially for Geronimo. I mean, that's I know they're going to address that. And hey, look, put yourself in position to be successful, not just try to get it and go and just make plays just because.
Hey, before I forget, we have 2 tickets to give away for tomorrow night's game. Indiana basketball game against Jackson State. All you have to do, if you're not following me on Twitter, and listen, this doesn't matter when you listen to this, but if you're not following me on Twitter, follow me and send me a message that I want tickets. Oh, you just say I want tickets. That's all you got to say. But follow me on Twitter and send that message. If you already follow me, just send a message saying I want tickets. We'll put the names in a bowl and draw those out, and we'll let you know tomorrow. But obviously you have to be able to go to Bloomington tomorrow night for Indiana's game. What time is that? Indiana, let's see. 7:00, I think. Jackson State, 7 p.m. tomorrow night. So if you can come to the basketball game tomorrow night at 7 p.m. and you would like 2 tickets, just send me a message on Twitter. I want tickets. And if you don't follow me already, you should. At Jim Coyle ISB. All right, back to whatever we were talking about before I interrupted you.
No, and if you shoot 19% from the floor, which is what Louisiana did, you'd probably be better off just throwing the ball out of bounds, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, jokingly.
I know,
yeah.
I mean, I would be trying to get people in the air and get a foul drawn.
That was Coach Knight's.
They're not.
I want to tell you guys that was Coach Knight's thing to me. I don't know if he was joking or not. He said, "Man, you know you about to turn the ball over. Just get the ball to the referee and go play defense."
Yeah, I got something from him that I've used 2 or 3 times in my coaching tenure, which is it was at a practice, and he said, I can't remember who it was directed at, but it was in regards to free throw shooting, that he would tell him, you'd be better off just airballing the damn thing so we can set our defense up.
Yeah,
you know,
Tom
and that's I've coached
a story where he was doing something. He had the ball, and while on the floor, and he told him, yelled at him to hand the ball to his defender. To the defender.
Oh, defender! Wow.
To the guy that was guarding him, and he was just all what? And so finally, he hands the ball to the defender. I forget why.
Right, because he felt he was going to turn the ball over. I mean,
there was some point that he was trying to prove, yeah.
Or maybe it was helping locate who he was guarding.
There was definitely a point that he was making. I forget what it was, but
yeah, he probably was turning the ball over like crazy, and Coach was in one of his coachism ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny. Some of those. If I wish someone could write a book and we could read all the funny stories, because
there
are so many of them.
It'll happen after he passes, and they'll all be good stories. They'll all be funny stories. They'll all be, and there'd be no other reason to do something like that. But it'd be nice if somebody would do that while he was still kicking.
Yeah, some of them. I mean, there are some funny stories. I mean, there are some really, really funny. I've got a clip on my phone that I just keep that's off of YouTube, and he's just leaning up against, how the old rims used to be with that arcing structure that held him up from the floor. Anyway, he's just leaning on the padding. And they're on the other end, and all you can hear is, Brian, what in the hell are we doing here? It's just funny. I mean, he's just calling Brian Evans out. It's Brian Evans that he's calling out, but it's just funny to see those things and to hear those funny stories. And there's some that probably aren't as funny, but that's how that goes.
Anytime I talk with anybody, like just the guys around Indianapolis area, it's never anything ever bad. Even the guys that got kind of sucked up in the other side of the IU night thing that went on for 20 years, it was never heard anything other than an interesting practice story that would, that most of you guys, I would say most of you guys, Charlie, wore as sort of a badge of honor much of the time, right?
That's
hard coaching.
That was culture. That was the culture.
Yeah.
You took on stuff that I don't know how to talk about. Not saying it was right or wrong, but that was just it was. Oh man, you saw that today in practice? What? All right, where you going to eat? Steak and shake? Cool. Let's go. Another day. You took it. And
dude, I say this all the time. I've seen all the stuff that Knight was, the BS. It was not. I don't think he was choking. Was he choking Neil, or was he just grabbing him?
No,
that's a sensitive subject, Jim. I was there.
I was not.
It was sensitive. And I say this because that was my roommate. Neil's my roommate, and it happened so quick, and it just. I mean, and if you've never heard the backstory, all practice. Neil was not calling. Coach Knight was really big on communication before you passed the ball. Neil was going up like he was going to shoot it. I remember the very first time it happened. Larry Richardson was looking to rebound and it got hit behind in the back of the head. And only because Neil went up and then he changed his mind to shoot the ball, got contested, whatever. But that was just something that was happening all practice. It was happening. It was, hey man, call the person's name out. Call their name out, let them know. We don't know if you need to rebound. And Jim Reamer, you've been at practice. You know how we are waiting at half court. We're doing things.
Mm-hmm.
One side of the court. You coming in and coming out. Your call when you do that as a player. And then it was like one last time it happened. And I mean, Coach Knight walked up to him and just boom, went right to him like bang. And for me, because I was out, I was like, oh wow, that's one of those badge of honor things, right, Jim? Seriously. One of those badge of honor.
That may be, that may have that from an outsider perspective. I definitely didn't mean situations like that.
No. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you because it's like we laugh
in real
about
time.
that. We laugh
in real time. Yeah.
You go into the locker room. He got you today. But then we were going home because we lived together. Neil, Andre, and myself. Neil was quiet in the car. That was unusual because Andre and I are laughing about it. We're joking. I mean, heck, I've had my days. Andre had his days. You could go out to the words because your teammates, roommates. That was different. It was something in the air different. And then it was just a whole nother. It was a storm. When Neil got home, we got the phone calls, his parents, and explaining what happened. And then the next day, just all the media outlets being on campus, and it was like it just took a life of its own. So, it was one of those things I wish we didn't go through. And I talked to AJ about this, AJ Guyton. I mean, we went through a lot of dysfunctional crap.
Well, and it's all fun and games when you're sitting where I'm sitting. Because man, I'm not. But then I talked to Sharon about his, the headbutt and all that stuff, and you know what? He'll tell you. I don't know how serious he is when we have these discussions. He played for me one summer, and I loved coaching him. But he's like, I probably deserved it.
You can say that, but I mean, Jim Reamer, can you see yourself? Can you see yourself in your summer league?
No, I get migraines, so I'm not hitting anybody in the head.
Going to somebody and whether you're trying to get in their face, I mean, I don't know. I hear you. I hear you, Sharon.
It's funny you say that because, all right, I've told this story before. When I was a freshman in high school playing football, I remember we'd had the same coaches for our 7th and 8th grade year, and our freshman year, we had one of the same coaches, and the other one stayed back to coach 8th grade. And we were scrimmaging one day, and I was a defensive quarterback or wide receiver. We were doing something, and this kid was clipping me around. I'm like, I kept telling him, I was being I'm a freshman, you're an 8th grader. I was getting in his face and giving him some what for. And his current coach, who had been my coach, Coyle, shut your mouth and get back in the huddle. And as I'm walking away, and I just said, tell him to quit effing clipping me, and walked away. Well, the next thing I know, buddy, there are 2 hands in my back, and I hit the ground as hard as I've hit the ground. And I get up, and it's again. And I get up, and it's again. Wow. And he knocked the living crap out of me. And I was pissed off and embarrassed and all that, and just mad. But at the end of the day, you know what I say today? I deserved it. I ran my mouth. I deserved that. It's football. I was playing football. So getting hit and knocked because it was a coach today. Yeah, he'd be in jail. If you'd see that video. If you see that video today, video, he'd be in jail. And
exactly.
He hit me pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'm like, did I get hurt? No. The only place I got hurt was my pride. And that's something I've never forgotten to this day, though. But to this day, I say, I deserved it. I ran my mouth to a coach. You don't do that. I'm like, so.
But you don't. I mean.
And I'm not defending the other way.
Yeah, no, man.
I just think there are so many, the things that they used to do. Holy crap.
Yeah, but I want to say this. It was, and unfortunate Neil's not here, unfortunate, but I think there was a pick and choose with Coach Knight on who he would go at and who he would not go at.
Is that because he knew who he could go at and who he couldn't?
Yeah, and I think who could take it or who would take it too far and might retaliate. And not necessarily from a breakdown standpoint, but who would retaliate and say, okay, hey man, you're not going to do that. And I don't think it was a bully situation. I just think it was one of those situations what you just talked about. Hey, look, you know what? I'm the coach. I'm the one in charge. You know, I'm no nonsense in your face. I'm gonna get your attention by any means. So, you know, it happened. And for me, my teaching point to that, as always, I know what to do and what not to do. I come from that family tree. I know what it's like to get in somebody's face and just go. I mean, I still do it to this day, but I gotta catch myself because I know what I've seen for 4+ years. So, you know, and it doesn't leave you. That stuff doesn't leave you, man.
Yeah. I've left said he remembers seeing you, Andre, and Neil at a McDonald's at the mall in Bloomington after that happened. So.
Yeah. I mean, and Milton is his name, and I'm more than certain. I remember that. I probably was thinking about that food I was eating, and there might have been a whole nother story for Neil. Unfortunately, right?
We got to take a quick break. Plenty more to come up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Appreciate you being with us. We're back with that. Brought to you by our good friends at Reynolds Family Dentistry. If you're down in the Sellersburg area, you want that championship smile, go see our friend Dr. J. He'll give it to you. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration.
Yeah, like playing football back in Miami. I mean, it was nothing to get cursed out, call all kind of names, hit side the head with your helmet. But see, the thing about that for me, we all grew up in the same neighborhood, so you had permission.
Probably from your parents too.
From the parent to you know, and it was rebuking. So that's how we saw respect, right? Yep. That's how I saw it. If you weren't called out your name, you weren't called this and that, then you weren't playing. That was my
They didn't care about you.
That was the way I saw respect.
But I will tell you that when I got knocked the crap out of me those 3 times, I've never seen any coach do something worse ever. And I didn't get hurt. But
my wife weird. Was my 5-year-old son played flag football for the first time this year, and she was out there like they're out there yelling at these kids. I'm like, if you, like they're yelling like these kids are. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tell you right now. You better get used to it.
It's what it takes.
You better get used to it. I mean,
because if you don't, it's everybody gets a trophy thing, man.
Yeah,
and
or he's gonna be on the debate club.
You can do both now.
Yeah, he's gonna be on the debate club. I mean, so he's playing hockey now. He's out there trying to play hockey, hockey rink now, skating, and so I'm like, man, he's playing all the sports that's going to happen.
Yep.
Just to let you know, we'll have about 12 minutes when we come back.
It's I don't know. I'm pretty hard on kids, but I try to be pretty transparent as to what's going on.
Yeah, but I can see you setting the expectation up front though.
Yeah, I think so.
That was not the case with Coach. That was it was assumed. Which is okay. I mean, not saying everybody has to, hey, look, I'm gonna coach you this way. I think there's a difference.
You knew what you were getting when you signed up.
No, Jim, I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm gonna say
maybe
no.
I've never heard anybody feel. Well, I shouldn't say I've never heard anybody feel that way, but I think, I don't think you can really expect to get
heck no
until it happens.
Yeah, man.
You can't imagine how deep it is. Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you. I remember being in Wisconsin.
I hate to break this up. We're coming back, y'all.
Okay. Man,
well, I'll tell the damn story on air.
For Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
This segment is brought to you by Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It's Monday, and we're having a blast. Charlie Miller's with us. Jim Reamer's joined us. Charlie was getting ready to tell another great story.
Yeah, no, I remember being at Wisconsin. This was freshman year. Freshman year at Wisconsin. For whatever reason, this was like the biggest no-no. It's like, a bonehead play, I can call it now. I'm trying to save the ball under the opponent's basket. Trying to make a hard play, playing hard, not thinking. I save it. They score. Coach Knight calls me to the sideline. He's talking. I'm not paying attention. I'm trying to get back on the court. Boom. Arm gets grabbed. I'm like, what the? And I walk off and grabbed again. Huh? What is this? At timeout. Come out. And I'm
this was during the game?
Heck yeah. No, I'm not talking like after. This is all during the game. I make a hustle play. Again, young, dumb, just trying to hustle, save it, not even thinking twice about what I did. Calls me to the sideline. I hear, I'm trying to walk back in, grab, talking again, yank my arm, grab me again. I'm like, okay, timeout, come out. I'm sitting down on the bench. I'm hot and furious. Like, I don't care at this point. Like, you just not going blah, 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 back and forth. And I was like, all right, whatever. So that was my first, you can't, and I say this in respect, Jim Coyle, it's like, you don't really realize the impact of what you hear until you have your own encounter in a sense. Now, I'm not saying that, again, who knows, it didn't happen anymore. That's kind of why I said I think he can pick and choose. We can really go ahead and say and do things like that. And I don't think it was an intimidation part. That's just how he coached. To me, that's just my take.
We talked in between on the break about expectations and what individual. And I think the thing with my groups, I try to make sure. I mean, I do this. I really do think it through. I try to have my first blow up over whatever it may be to the whole group.
Right. I get you. I know you're going with that.
And usually it's the second practice, and you've already taught through some things, and you're expecting things to get better. And that's usually the context of, look, you got to build from one thing to the next, and drill to drill to scrimmage to game, right? And however we break down practices, but it's more of a one guy will, maybe 2 or 3 guys will make the same type of mistakes,
yeah.
And instead of singling the last guy out, it's just stop practice, unload everything. And the madder the easier the words flow, the less my language is a lot cleaner when I'm upset. Usually I just kind of curse at my feet. I mumble a lot, especially like in game situations. But it's usually directed at the whole group, and it's rarely just at a single individual to start off with. And then look, if guys don't learn, then it gets more direct. But at the same time, it's always transparent. It's always, there's never any issue or there's never any confusion as what the issue is. Yeah. And I think the more they understand, the more a player understands what the point of contention is. For one thing, it's easier to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, I think it's easier to take direction.
Of course.
Up to a breaking point, of course. Every person has a breaking point, but up to a point of, how harsh it is. And my guys also figured out that if they're getting their butt chewed, they're probably staying in the game.
Well, that was a care. It was a care behind that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because at that point I'm trying to evoke a response. I'm trying to evoke a certain level of play. And if I bring you out, it's probably just going to be more of a sit down, talk to the assistant, or sit down when I get a chance, sit down and tell them, all right, look, here's the 2 things you really need to work, that this is why you're out, and a lot of times, especially with the summer stuff, where there's, we're putting in good, we're putting guys that are good back in. Sometimes it's just, we're picking you out just so you can get some rest. So
that's right. Charlie, You did, Charlie. You didn't get to play with Sharon, did you? There was a crossover.
No, I did. I did.
so.
I did.
Oh,
You did?
Yeah, because remember, before he got kicked off the team, so freshman, sophomore year. So he got hurt against Temple. So my freshman year
was that the broken leg?
Yes.
When were you 90? You were 96, right?
94, 98.
Oh, then you definitely played with. Yeah,
Yeah,
my bad.
yeah. So remember, so it was 93, 94. They played against Temple in the Sweet 16. That's when he broke his ankle. So 94, 95, he was out the whole time. He came back 95, 96. In 96, 97, he played a half a season before he got moved from the team.
I don't know that I've ever coached a more competitive kid.
And it might have been pre-injury because I heard all about him prior to the injury. Now he wasn't the same,
right,
because of the injury, right? But I had a chance to play with him. But I can only imagine him without that injury and the way he was able to play prior to.
Just a really good leader.
I'm gonna get him on a Monday. With you, Charlie.
Sure, if you need contact info, let me know.
I've had him. He's been on with us before. He is.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
He's such a positive person, Charlie. To talk to him now, this is the guy who has done a 180.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he's done a 180 and bolted
good
from that other side. I mean,
good.
When you talk to him, he almost makes you feel bad about yourself. He's so good.
Good.
He's so polite and nice, and you can tell where his mindset is.
That's
and
good.
It's like, damn.
Well,
he makes me feel
he's
bad
always been
about
that way.
myself.
He'd always been that way with me from the beginning. I mean, now when I coached, that was my first real team, so I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I'm not sure. If I don't now, I definitely didn't then. But he had no reason to give me any respect other than just the respect you give a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. It was a good group. And it was, look, he was voted Mr. Basketball, plain and simple. And I think he kind of got the short end of the stick on how that went down. And I enjoyed coaching him. And it was, he coaches as hard as he plays. In all ways. And sometimes he was hard on his teammates. There was no question about that, at least the time he was with me. But look, Jeffersonville won a state championship with him and Brian Hanley and Corey Norman. Those were some really good, and BJ Flynn. And those were, Norman went to, or Hanley went to Xavier. BJ Flynn
he was
played at
Mr.
Louisville.
Basketball. Sharon was Mr. Basketball.
He was voted. It got stripped over a ticket issue on tickets.
To this day, I really think that they need to go back and revisit that. It just sucks that they did that.
When you look at the whole how it went down and what's, I don't want to dig too, because it's people make amends in their past. The decision, the direction they went with it was not. It was not a good decision. And Sharon won the vote. He deserves to be Mr. Basketball. I know we didn't intend on talking about stuff like this, but he deserves it. And he, as far as I'm concerned, he's 1993. Yeah, he's the 1993 Mr. Basketball, as far as I'm concerned. He won it outright. Well. And I think maybe it was something not handled well on the back end, sure. But he's a kid, and the adults in the room should have been the more mature parties in the situation. And I think at the end of the day, he just decided he didn't want to be part of it anymore. And they made it, people that were doing it then made it, it was sometimes rough to enjoy.
I should ask him, and I will when he's on, but why?
Oh, he'll be way more pleasant about it. He'll be way more pleasant about it now than I am.
Why did he quit? I don't remember. I have no idea.
No, he didn't quit. Got it.
Yeah, the All-Star stuff. Yeah, no, there was an issue. Well, and there may be some other things that I am forgetting in real time, but the issue was something happened. His mom or family didn't get their All-Star tickets ordered in time, and there was a big stink about it. And look, Sharon's a competitive kid, and I don't know how things were handled in real time, but at the same time, it didn't go his way. He reacted, they reacted, and then he ended up leaving. So Now maybe they dictated that decision. I don't know. We've not talked about it a lot since, but it was silly. It was silly stuff that.
Yeah,
that should've
we'll
just
get
been
him on
handled differently.
sometime. Where is he now? He's coaching. He's in Indianapolis.
He's at Logansport.
Logansport.
Yeah, he's at Logansport. He's the head coach there, and
he'd been down at Madison, Shaw, and
Madison,
and so moving up their line, he's doing that. We'll get him on soon. As a fact, I'll try to get him on next week. Man, it went so fast. It was a fun day as always. Jim Reamer, thank you so much. Got to thank the great Don Fischer, the voice of the Hoosiers, and of course Charlie Miller. Without him, the glue that keeps everything together. Looking forward to doing this again next week, man. I wish it wasn't a whole week before we got to do it again.
You got going on over there, Jim, man. I want to see animal
Kingdom.
Love each other. Come on, man. What do we got going on?
It's kitten fighting, evidently.
I don't. It's fighting. Are you sure?
Let's don't send.
What are we watching over there, man?
Is that a
watching?
I'm very sure. Yeah, I
didn't know we were going to close the show like this today, but Charlie, thank you so much.
Yeah, don't send PETA. We're good here. It's
got something.
If you want to see
Animal Kingdom.
Oh man,
John, the producer, thank you so much, and most importantly, thank all of you guys. And don't forget, send me a message on text. Follow me on Twitter at Jim Coyle ISB. Send me a message. I want tickets. We've got 2 for tomorrow night. Until tomorrow. I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.